Hello, and welcome to the Power of Charms interview series. We love to talk with people that are doing important things in the world, and I have such a very special guest today, Connie Phillips. Connie and I have known each other for, I hate to say it, over 25 years when we were just babies. And we've worked on things together throughout the years. When she was the executive director of Sojourner Center, I had a different company. It was called Regalia, and you were one of my models in my fashion show.
I still have several treasured pieces of regalia jewelry.
Oh my gosh. And so we had a lot of fun and connection with that. And then when I started Charity Charms, we did some custom products for Sojourner Center. And so we've known each other for a long time. Connie, you've spent your career working in the field of social profit organizations, and now you are the executive director of president and CEO actually of Lutheran Social Services of the Southwest. That's a mouthful. Your organization does so much for children, refugees, older folks. I'm going to give you the floor, and please tell us all the wonderful work you do.
Sure. So Lutheran Social Services has been in the state of Arizona for the past 50 years, over 50 years now. And it's actually a large nonprofit organization that most people have not heard of. We were founded as a ministry arm of the Lutheran congregations originally. We are a standing on our own nonprofit organization. We're not the church. That's a myth that a lot of people think of when they hear of us, but we are a separate organization, and we serve people in 4 counties. So we work in Cochise and Santa Cruz counties in rural areas where we work primarily with older adults. And then we work in the Tucson area and in the Phoenix metro area. And our services do cover 4 populations, 4 groups of people: older adult people who are living in their homes, trying to stay in their homes so that they can live and age where we all want to, in our homes, where we're comfortable. So we do in-home support. And then we work with children and families by helping people become foster homes. We also help those families who are taking children from out of state and help them get their home ready and support them when they take a child from out of state, a family member. And then we have family resource centers where we help people who are trying to get on their feet, people primarily have children, although we've expanded now to a larger group of folks. And then our emergency services, where we work in collaboration with congregations to provide space so that people experiencing homelessness will have a safe place to sleep at night. And we provide the case management and help them out of homelessness, as well as we operate 2 food pantries to make sure people have what they need to eat. And we do some rent and utility assistance. The program that's really unique, though, for a lot of organizations, there's only 4 here in the Valley that do it, and 4 in Tucson, is Refugee Resettlement. And that's the program that I'll talk probably most about today, just because probably your listeners are not going to be as familiar with that work as the others. But all of our programs are focused on making sure people can meet their basic needs, and that we are responding to humanitarian crises.
You offer like food, lodging, education, all those services. That's the kind of the umbrella of the social services, right?
Right.
It's a lot. It's a lot that you do.
It is a lot. It's a large umbrella. Last year, I think we served 35,000 people in the state of Arizona, and we'll continue to serve about that many, some for small, short periods of time, either at the food pantry or we collaborate with some organizations and churches that take in asylum seekers, and we just help them get on their way to their sponsors. So some a small amount of time, some we stay with for years. Our older adults and our refugees will support for a number of years.
That's fantastic. And I saw that you are helping Ukrainian refugees right now.
We do have some folks from Ukraine that we are working with. So the Refugee Resettlement Program is an interesting program. I honestly didn't know a lot about it before I came to Lutheran Social Services. It's a unique program. The Refugee Resettlement, we all we just all throw everybody in the same basket, right? We're like, everybody, if they come here from someplace else, they're considered a refugee. Whether they came, whether they came across the southern border or they came in under the Refugee Resettlement Program. But the Refugee Resettlement Program is actually a very specific, very unique program. It is one that we have been working with since the mid 70s. It started as voluntary. Many of people will remember when the people from Vietnam and Laos were coming into the country during the Vietnam War. And that program was churches. It was primarily churches, Lutherans being one of the largest group that was reaching out and taking in those people and helping them get started. And in 1980, our government set up the Refugee Resettlement Program and made it an official humanitarian program that works through the Secretary of State's office. And so every year we work with the United Nations that they have identified people who qualify. And in order to qualify to come into the country through the refugee program, you have to be fleeing violence or persecution because of some part of yourself that you can't change. There's 5 official things. I never remember all 5 of them off the top of my head, but they're things like your race, your religion, your political affiliation, or your membership in a political party, your sexual orientation, something you can't change. That means that if you fled your first country and you're in a second country where you've come in to try to be safe, you're in a refugee camp, or you're living somehow in the shadows of a second country you fled to, you can apply to the United Nations. And if you are given that designation as a refugee, you could be eligible for resettlement. Now, there are 26 million people in the world that are displaced because of violence and persecution. And of that number, less than 1% are ever resettled to a third country. In order to be resettled to a third country, there has to be a determination that you'll never be able to return to your home country. Now that shaves that number down, but still, we only accept in the United States 120,000 people. And over the years, that number had shrunk under the Trump administration. It's going back up under this administration. But last year, it was like 40,000. So we're still in the process of bringing larger numbers in. So this last year, we brought in about 600 people and that all we do is accept them at the airport. We don't pick them. We don't go do the interviews. Someone else has done that. All of these people are vetted, highly vetted through a huge series of exams and research, and they make sure they're safe. Then they are able to travel to the country. We don't choose them. They are selected and then sent to, they don't choose us either. They just get sent to Arizona. And then we greet them at the airport, where we have now gotten an apartment for them that's set up. We have we have a case manager who speaks their language. We then begin over the next 90 days to get them on their feet because they need to be self-sufficient within 90 days.
Oh my God.
It is an incredible program. And we try to partner with groups that'll help support us to be their first friends. So it's not just our case managers, but hopefully there's a congregation or a friend group or some other group that walks alongside them. So it's an exciting program. But some of the people that come don't speak English. Some do. Many of them, regardless of what their job was in their previous life in their other country, they start out with very, entry-level work. So hotel housekeeping or hospitality, restaurants, because they're English until they get their English skills up. Then they go into those kind of works. But especially for women who come from other countries where women haven't really worked outside their homes, it takes everyone in the family to support the family here. And so the women have to find a way to bring in some kind of income. So we have created what we call the Women's Empowerment Group, and we teach them how to sew. And they can then make products that we help sell. And we have an Etsy store, and they're able to sell their products at, different, festivals and things around town, as well as through the Etsy store. And then they get a little bit of income.
Well, and that's very interesting, because that's kind of the program that we ended up doing together, which I thought was just lovely. I'll show everybody kind of what we did. We provided the pieces for Lutheran Social Services. So we did a custom charm with their logo, and then this is a key fob and a lovely little clasp. And then we also did a bracelet. And normally we will assemble everything and deliver it to the charity, and they'll use it for fundraising or gala events. But with you and what we've done with several other charities is turned it kind of into a social enterprise so that the women can make them and sell them and be a whole part of the process, which is so gratifying for everyone involved.
Yes. Yeah, it was just another, we try to find opportunities. When we do our fundraising luncheon each year, we usually purchase from the women these greeting cards that they make, that they sew onto.
Uh-huh.
Buy those as the gift that we give to people when they come to the event. And, so we try to find ways, that we can support that group in any way we can.
Right. Well, I just love that aspect of what you do, but you do so many things. Is there what is your focus like right now? Where is the area of greatest need?
Well, our emergency services is a program that always challenges us every year because it is not one that is funded very well from a government perspective.
Mhm.
We have a lot of government contracts. Our operating budget every year is about 20 million.
Mhm.
Most of that is our contracts. We do have hold contracts with Access, which is our Medicaid, and to be able to support older adults. We have the Older Americans Act supports our Meals on Wheels program. We have the Refugee Resettlement program has some funding that supports our case management. The program that we really there are a couple of different things. The programs that we put in extra, like this Women's Empowerment Program, there's no contracts for it. We have to raise the money for that.
Oh,
And the other program that we have to raise a lot of our money for is emergency services. And that includes the services for people experiencing homelessness. All of our media right now is really highlighting the increase in services needed for people experiencing homelessness. And I just read this morning that we're at our highest eviction rate again since the Great Recession in the Phoenix area. There's just homelessness is just overwhelming us. The number one reason people are homeless is they can't afford housing.
right.
And as we all know, any of us who've got young adult children know, the cost of housing is astounding.
Mhm.
And how it is that, we are expecting people who are making low wage jobs to be able to afford housing. It's really a challenge. And so emergency services trying to help people experiencing homelessness find housing, be able to make connections with other support systems that they can try to create some kind of living situation. All of those, that's really our biggest area of focus right now, is really how do we increase services to be able to be a part of the solution for those experiencing homelessness. We just expanded our program. We call it iHelp, Interfaith Homeless Emergency Lodging Program. It's the partnership with churches. And we just expanded into Phoenix, and we are working to grow that program. But it's just a constant struggle to be able to get enough operating money to have the staff members that we need.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That always seems to be the problem, doesn't it? It's constant. Do you collaborate with any other organizations within the Valley to, with food banks and,
Yeah.
who do you collaborate with and how does that?
Yeah, we work really well with all of the different providers that are doing emergency services, as well as there's the other refugee resettlement organizations. We work with, with wildfire. We work with the cities. We're working with volunteer organizations. We work with churches. We in fact, we always look at things from the perspective, if we're going to be involved in the service, there needs to be, or going to get involved with, there needs to be an opportunity for collaboration. It's part of our value, and there needs to be partnership.
Mhm.
in the community. So ways that volunteers can get involved. So those are two things that we always look for. And we have a really robust volunteer program as well, because they're such an important part of our program. Our emergency housing program, that iHelp program, is primarily run by volunteers. Our staff do the case management, but the actual shelter portion of it actually is done by volunteers. We have a lot of women, a lot of people who will work with the women sewing instructors, or people who will just come and be mentors and first friends to people, helping them learn English. So lots of partnership.
As people are listening to our interview, I'm sure that they're becoming very engaged, and it's great because, like you said, a lot of people don't know about all the work that you do. So if somebody wants to get involved, they can volunteer, they can donate, they can help educate, they can pray.
Absolutely.
What is your greatest need right now? If somebody's like, I want to get involved, where would you recommend that they, first of all, they reach out to you, and then
Yeah, well, on our website, we do have list our current volunteer needs, and I think we have hot needs on there. So it can be something as simple as, being a laundry person for iHelp and taking the sheets home and washing them,
Mm,
or being a mentor to a refugee youth, or to be a co-sponsor with a group of friends, and that just means you're going to help our refugee resettlement program,
mhm,
or volunteer with our iHelp program for those congregations that don't have enough volunteers, but they'll be letting us use their buildings. Or we're also always looking for board members.
oh,
So, governing board members who have some experience, maybe with having mentored refugees, or having worked in the field of child welfare, or maybe you've, had experience in working in a food bank, and you don't want to go stack boxes anymore, but
right.
be interested in board governance. That's something I'm not usually used to talking about it from a volunteer perspective, but
Mhm,
I think anymore, especially since we really want to be able to have a board that reflects more of the service areas that we provide. So really helping spread the word that, that might be something that, people could be interested in. So there's lots of places for volunteerism. The other thing is, I think, really important to think about is, not only do we need to increase the services to force people to be able to benefit, we need to be raising our voices to ask for just policies.
mm,
So the area of advocacy and speaking out to our policymakers.
mhm,
One of the big impediments for creating affordable housing actually lies at the city levels. It's
mm.
zoning.
Oh,
And
cool.
what happens if an affordable housing program is proposed in a neighborhood, neighbors often will get misinformation about that. They'll get all upset and think their property values are going to go down. They'll show up at the city council meetings and say, we don't want this in our neighborhood. Well, but if people will just learn about what it is, and that workforce housing is for people like the teachers and the firefighters and the baristas and the people who work at your nail salon, and all of the people we depend on in our neighborhoods to make our neighborhoods great. If we could
Mhm,
have housing where they could actually afford to live there, and so for us to be able to go to our city councils and say, we really would like to see affordable housing, or just even apartments or multifamily housing in our neighborhoods, as well as speaking to our legislators about about having housing, affordable housing. We all need it. Our clients need it, our staff needs it, our children need it. We have got to create additional affordable housing. And so we actually have our board of directors as an advocacy committee,
mhm.
and we are working to try to educate people about the need for affordable housing, and how we can raise our voices to our policymakers. So that's another opportunity. Come join our advocacy committee.
Right. Yeah, because it sounds like, I mean, you address so many social issues, and I didn't, the advocacy, I think, is sometimes rare for a nonprofit, but I think that's such an important thing for you to be doing. So
Yeah,
thank you
policy
for sharing
matters.
that with us. Yeah, it really does. It kind of lots of programs, and the way the world works kind of depends on that, so
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I love when I'm interviewing people to ask them what their favorite or their symbols are that mean things in their lives. And I had asked you, and you said hope. And I think hope that totally involves so many things that you do. And, the symbols for hope are many things. The cross, which ties in with this, the Christianity, a butterfly wing. Butterflies are a symbol of hope. Anchors are a symbol of hope. Stars are a symbol of hope. There's so many symbols of hope. And I think that that's a wonderful word, symbol, everything that you have chosen. It depicts what you do. So, Connie, is there anything else that we have not covered that you'd like to tell people?
Well, as I said, people often just make the assumption with Lutheran Social Services that we're a Lutheran organization, or we are we serve Lutherans. Neither are true. We are founded by Lutherans, and we're proud of our Lutheran heritage. And we still have a wonderful partnership with many, many Lutheran congregations, and are proud of our association with both there's different kinds of Lutherans. So with both the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, our synod here, as well as our Missouri Synod Lutheran churches, and we have wonderful partnerships with both, as well as with many groups of faith and not faith. And we just really believe in community partnerships. And so I hope that as people are listening to this and knowing that they will, maybe take a second look if they hear of us or want to know more, because as you said, you and I have known each other a very long time. I've been working in the field of social services, human services, my entire career. This is some of the most impactful work that I've because it's so like everything we do is in the community. When I was working at Sojourner, it was right there. Everybody came to us. It was right there. You could see it. I keep pictures of our programming in my office because everything we do is out in the community. It's in someone's home. Yeah. It's at the apartment community. It's in the church reception hall at night with the volunteer, or with the volunteers and the people experiencing homelessness. It's out the back closet of the food pantry in the church hall. It's it's the Family Resource Center, which is tucked inside the Boys and Girls Club, or actually it's the Y. I messed that up. It's the Y. It's like all of these places where it's not like, here it is. It's
right. It's not like right there. It's outreach.
It's out. It's out.
That's how you are able to have such a big impact.
Yeah. And it's wonderful. It makes it a little hard to try to promote yourself, but it's just such an incredible opportunity to hear the stories. When I get that chance to ride along or go visit someone that we have served, or get the report back, it's just really heartwarming.
Well, you certainly have found your life's purpose, Connie, which many people seek their whole lives. But you've been such a great servant leader for so many people for so many years. I just love it, and I love that we've been able to reconnect. And I hope we could see more of each other.
Yes.
I do want to let people know, let's see, if they want to contact you, the website is lss-sw.org. And the best phone number is 480-387-5382. There's several other phone numbers also listed on the website.
Yeah, look on the website, because it depends on who you're trying to contact.
Okay, yeah.
So I would say the best thing to do is check the website, and then you can find the phone number that corresponds to that particular either service or area.
Okay. Well, Connie, thank you so much for your time today. Really enjoyed it. Love learning about the organization and all that you do. And thanks so much for having us on The Power of Charms.
Oh, thank you so much, Kay, for all your work over the years.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.